right, let's get to your market update now. The resources and financial sectors are far ahead of other divisions on the JSE this afternoon. The Rand is steady against major currencies, but various headwinds await in the week ahead. Let's get you some analysis now. Viv Govender is a portfolio manager at Rand Swiss. Viv, it's always great to talk to you. Thanks for coming on. What's driving market movement this afternoon, particularly on the currency and resources front?
Well, we are seeing a bit of positivity return to the market on rate cut hopes. Rate cuts, of course, as you know, are going to be, key for market movements into the future, just because of the fact that much of the rise we've had over the last 6 months or so have been driven by the hopes of rate cuts coming through. Historically, only two things that will affect markets, consistently. That's taxes and rates. And so, yeah, rate cuts are going to be the big driver, I think. And the market right now is hoping for those to come through, especially after getting some really disappointing economic numbers over the last couple of weeks.
And then, Viv, plenty of speculation, should we call it, reports over the weekend, newspapers, that Shell is going to be leaving South Africa. It's causing ructions, obviously, around BEE shareholders. What do you reckon is behind that decision, and what has happened since it was made?
Yeah, look, I think the company has come out and said there's no comment just yet, and the department as well as has commented yet. I do think that, the speculation at the moment is more about South Africa being a bad business destination. And this kind of combines with the Anglo-American buyout bid by Bacher Merton, which conspicuously basically excluded the South African assets of Kumba and Platts, maybe indicating that they don't want the South African assets at the moment. And there's a number of different, sentiments out there that seem to indicate that the market might believe that right now South Africa is a bad business destination, investment destination. And that is one of the reasons we are seeing, companies pull out and so on.
Has Tebe Investments said anything?
I have not seen anything from the news yet, no.
Okay. So good news for shareholders in Eastern Platinum. It's listed in Canada and the JSE. The company has financially turned the corner then, we can say.
Yeah, look, we are seeing, apparently some remining and some tailing stuff doing reasonably well. Platinum prices have been extremely difficult over the last, few years, in fact. And we've seen a number of operations, Plats, etc., all experiencing difficulties. The fact that we are seeing a bit of recovery here is obviously a bit of a good thing. But that being said, the industry going forward obviously depends on commodity prices recovering.
And then, Viv, the owners of Fourways Mall here in Johannesburg have seen some movement in their claim against 5 insurance companies for business interruptions during COVID-19 lockdowns. What's the backstory here?
Well, as you know, when it comes to COVID, it was one could say a once-in-a-lifetime event, fingers crossed, hopefully. And therefore, when you have these unusual events occur out of this magnitude, obviously everyone's going to go look back at their agreements in terms of insurance and so on to see whether that is covered or not. And when there's $1 billion at stake, you are going to find that insurance companies especially, are going to make sure extra careful that they actually are liable for the loss or not. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I do think that it kind of makes sense when you have this kind of money. Lawyers' fees are expensive, advocates' fees are expensive, but they're not $1 billion rand. So, it still makes, if there's a 1%, 10% chance of something like this happening, where you could actually get things reversed, it's still worth fighting for them. So I think that's the kind of stuff you'd expect when you have such a massive payout being, disputed.
No, absolutely. And I imagine that something like living through a pandemic does change a lot of the questions that all of us, business owners, private individuals, are asking around what is insured and what isn't.
Exactly. And, insurance basically is meant to cover, kind of like predictable kind of things. The more predictable something is, the better insurance is able to deal with it. When you do have these unpredictable, unusual events occurring, insurance companies often are stuck with, these black swan events, one might say. Insurance companies are stuck with liabilities they never anticipated occurring, because it wasn't in their tables. And therefore, they do obviously usually try and find a way to put that into their, agreements with companies, those being insured. But sometimes, the legality might be a bit, blurred a bit.
Yeah. And then the owners of privately owned memorial parks and grave sites around the country, it's called Calgro M3, they've reported a good financial performance from the JSE listed company. I'm not sure whether this is a good story for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, apparently they do this residence property and memorial parks. Apparently the memorial parks business is doing well. I did not know that was something I don't follow very closely. Of course, it's one of the company, the JSE, but it's one of the companies I usually invest in. It's on the radar. But yeah, apparently the memorial park business, like you mentioned, has done exceptionally well, and that's one of the reasons it's looking stronger. And they're having a 27.7% rise in full-year earnings.
Yeah. Viv, as always, a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for coming on, kicking off the week of markets for us here on Daytime Updates. Viv is a portfolio manager at Rand Swiss.